Hello, my name is Aslam Moolla. I'm an attorney from Legal Leaders. I specialize in CCMA and labor law. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to refer your case to the CCMA and what form to fill in and how to go about actually registering your case. The first thing that you need to do is to actually download the form from the official CCMA website. The form is called a 7.11 form. It's available on the CCMA website. If you are unable to download it, click on the link below this video and you should be able to download it from our side. Once you have the form, let's go through the details. Let's have a look at page 1. The heading would be referring a dispute to the CCMA for conciliation, including con arb. In essence, page 1 is about your details. You would tick whether you're an employee or an employer or any other section that applies to you. Since you are referring the case, you need to fill in this part here. The details are quite self-explanatory: your name, surname, length of service, your salary at the time, alternative contact details. This could be your spouse, your mother, your friend, somebody you trust in case they cannot get hold of you. The most important thing here is your name and your cell number, very important, and of course your email address. That's how the CCMA actually gets in touch with you. Section 2, details of the other party. Often in my experience, the employee is the person that refers the case to the CCMA and the other party is the employer. So you would tick employ here and then you would put in their details. Make sure to put in the right cell number and email address here as well. Section 3, nature of the dispute. There are various options available to you in terms of the situation that you are particular in. Make sure to select the right option that's applicable to you here. So if you have been dismissed, tick the dismissal box. Just below this section is a section stating if it is an unfair dismissal, tick the relevant box. There are different kinds of dismissal. If you've been dismissed for a misconduct or incapacity, poor work performance, retrenchment, you would select the right option that's applicable to your circumstances. If you're not sure which option to select, select the unknown reasons box. To section 4, summarize the facts of the dispute. This section, in my experience as a labor attorney, is where most employees trip up. They put too much of information here and this information is used against them at a later stage at the CCMA. My advice to you is to keep it as short and as simple as possible. For example, if you were charged for dishonesty at the workplace, you would put in the following: I've been an employee for 6 years. I was charged for dishonesty. The company did not have the right evidence to charge me. I'm innocent and I want a fair hearing. That's what I would put in there. I wouldn't go too much into dates, witnesses' names, etc. At this point, you just want to summarize your case. So the important tip is keep it short and simple. Section 5, date and place where the dispute arose. You would put the date and the city in which you are working. It's quite self-explanatory. Let's move on to section 6, date of dismissal. This is a very important section. If you were dismissed on the 13th of July and you put in an appeal at your workplace, but the outcome of your appeal, you only received it on the 19th of July, then you would put the 19th of July as the date of dismissal. In other words, put the last known date that you received a final confirmation from the employer that you were dismissed. Let's move on to the next section, fairness or unfairness of dismissal. This relates to procedural issues and substantive issues. We have prepared a separate video on this. Click on the link below to watch that video, which explains more detail on procedural and substantive issues. But for purposes of completing this form, procedural issues basically means, were you treated the right way? Did you have a fair chance to explain yourself? Did you receive the charges in advance? Did you have an opportunity to prepare for your case? If you believe you haven't, then you need to select that option there. With regard to substantive issues, this relates to the actual reasons why you were dismissed, the reason that the employer selected. You need to elaborate why the reasons that the employer has given is not fair and you have been treated unfairly. Just like above, don't go too much detail, just provide one or two concise statements. Section 8, results required. There's only 3 results that you can get from the CCMA. The first is reinstatement with full back pay. That means you get your job back and all the money that's owed to you. Number 2 is reemployment, which means that you go back to work, but you go and work for a different person or in a different department. And the last option is compensation. That's where you get paid out a sum of money for the way that you've been treated unfairly. We are preparing a detailed video on those. Click on the link below if you want more information on results, what kind of results you can get from your CCMA case. In terms of Section 9, sector, quite self-explanatory. You're going to look at the relevant sector that you worked in and tick the appropriate option. Section 10, if you require an interpreter, you would select, otherwise you would just leave it blank. Section 11, this can be discrimination in terms of pregnancy, it can be in terms of race, religion, color, sexual orientation. If you believe that the employer had treated you differently because of some objective ground that they should not have done so and it's unfair, then you would select yes, and then also explain very briefly as to the discrimination that was involved in your case. Section 12, confirmation of above details. Self-explanatory, you're going to put your name, signature, the position that you are formally employed in, and the date and place. Now that you've completed the form, the next step is to make sure that you serve a copy of this form on the employer. Here's how you go about doing it. You're going to make 3 copies. 1 copy for yourself, 1 copy for the employer, and 1 copy for the CCMA. There are different ways to serve it. The first is through a sheriff. You can get the sheriff to deliver those copies and make sure it's done properly, although you're going to pay the sheriff for doing that. The second is hand delivery. You would physically go to the employer's place and give it to somebody that's responsible. Make sure that they sign your copy and sign the CCMA copy. And the third option is via email and fax. That way, you have to ensure that the employer has received it by telephonically phoning them. And also, you're going to keep the proof, either the fax transmission slip or the email that you actually sent it through. Once you've served a copy on the employer, the next step is to take the served copy and the original copy and go to your local CCMA. You tell them that you've served a copy on the employer and that you want to register your case. The CCMA will keep that copy and then they'll notify you of a hearing date. So in essence, what we covered in today's video is where to get the CCMA form. You get it from the official CCMA website. It's called a 711 referral form. We also covered how to go about filling in the CCMA form and the different sections. And the last thing that we covered is how to serve a copy and how to get your case registered at the CCMA. You make sure you first give it to the employer and then you go to the CCMA. If you need help with regard to serving your copy, you're welcome to go to the CCMA and they will help you. If you need help with filling in the form or any kind of advice with regard to your particular case, you're more than welcome to contact us. Click on the link below and we'll speak to you soon.